Nathan, can we assume, judging by the pinks versus the whites out there, that Daniel Wells will be playing this week?
Well, not by that, because there's a few boys that were in the pink side that we've got to choose from. But Wellesley pulled out of the VFL game, fit and firing. He's got to get through a couple of training sessions, but we anticipate that he'll be fit to play, and we look forward to getting him to wear the black and white stripes on Tuesday.
Make you a much better side, yeah?
Well, yeah, and we've got to be really careful with the reasons we brought him into the club. One, he's a class player. He's got a lot of experience, but he's a very good user of the footy. He's great around stoppages, and he's great in that forward half use, and it just happens to be the area that we're falling down in particular at the moment. So Daniel isn't going to solve all of those ills, and we're doing a lot of work on it, but he won't hurt us either. So we're looking forward to him coming in and doing what he does, but at the same time we don't expect him to be the saviour in that regard.
There's been a lot of talk about De Goey externally in the press about rushing him back in and therefore not serving his full ban. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, any of that talk just doesn't understand the integrity of the footy club and the decision made by the leadership, including the player leaders, and the fact that was not a decision made lightly for Jordan's benefit as an individual and to develop him as best we possibly can, and for the club and team's benefit, so that everyone understands that trust is earned, and Jordan's going about earning that trust, and he's got a couple of weeks of penance still to serve, and he's doing everything right, but he's not done yet.
Are you pleased with how he went?
He played well. Our VFL side, scraped over the line, and we didn't perform as well as we would have liked. But Geordie brought what we've seen before, which is great contest, and he was engaged and he was up and about, and he's training well, and he's earning that trust back.
Nathan, Mason Cox made a pretty big statement on the big stage this time last year. Does he come back into the side? Yeah,
no, we'll look at Mason. One thing we haven't been able to do when our ability to move the ball and shift the defence fails, and we need to go down the line, and that happens in games of footy. We just haven't been able to get as much of an aerial presence as we would have liked. So Mason's definitely in that mix to come and help support Darcy with that, and it's a part of the game that we know that is always going to be there, especially against good defending sides, and we need to be able to move the ball in many ways. But Mason's aerial ability is something that we'll look to. And he's a very real chance of coming in on Tuesday.
No, you don't really like talking about selection. We're going to ask another one. You said last week the romance of the Josh Dacos potential for Anzac Day was parked. Is that still the case?
No, he's not ready. He's played one VFL game. He's been really impressive through pre-season, and I know that the question's there because of the romance. And he's shown some really good signs. But we'll make the decision, and we're best placed to make the decision on when he's ready, physically, mentally and emotionally, to take on the game, and we're not at that point yet.
How confident are you that we'll see a response on Anzac Day from the disappointment last week?
Well, I think what does that look like? What does a response look like? I mean, we've lost 3 games by narrow margins. We've had elements, 14, 15 and 19 points. We've actually, we've defended 4th best in the comp as far as the points aggregate goes over 4 weeks, and it's still pretty early, but it's starting to have some weight and some feedback on how you're going in certain areas. We're a top 4 contested ball side, but clearly our ability to maintain our shape in offence and to use the ball effectively offensively is the challenge that we now have. But we've always seen ourselves as a contest and defence first side, and we wouldn't have anticipated that we would have this much trouble sort of at the beginning of the year with our offence, but clearly that's a work in progress. It's something that if we can get that right whilst not losing the integrity of the other two, that we feel like we'll be in really good shape.
Now, a couple of the new guys are off to the Shrine this afternoon. How much of that do you do with the entire team, or is it more for the new boys?
No, the new boys definitely get a taste of it. It's really hard to describe. I think it's something you need to actually be a part of. And all of our listed players get that opportunity, and all our new people to the organisation get the opportunity to experience Anzac Day through their experience at Collingwood. And we're very fortunate to do that. It's something we definitely reflect on. It's something that we acknowledge, and we appreciate the opportunity. And when we get a bit closer to it, we generally find a way of acknowledging it to the group year by year.
I think in the past...
Sorry, just your comment before about indicators.
Yeah.
You're seeing signs of what you want to see.
Yeah.
Like inaccuracies, that's obviously been a factor for you in
Yeah.
at least one of your losses. Do you feel you're not far off? Do you feel there's a breakthrough there with how Collingwood is travelling?
Well, if we maintain our ability to defend the way we've defended, and I think our back six have been exceptional. I think our forwards have been pretty good at defending the middle of the field. We'd like to put a little bit more pressure on our forward 50, and I think we can help them a little bit with the way we structure up. And we can definitely help with the tempo of our ball use. Sometimes we're too fast, sometimes we're too slow. So we're still finding that best mix. And clearly when you miss targets, it's going to affect your ability to control the tempo of your offence. So we're missing too many targets. But, we're trying not to get too wound up in that, because we need to play loose and we need to play confident. And it's definitely something that we're capable of. But we're definitely not going to lose the integrity of the things that we're building that are really strong, which is the defensive makeup and our contested makeup. So there's one phase of the game that's failing for us at the moment, and we've lost. And if you put goal kicking into that, we still think our ball use can improve massively. So if we're to kick straight, we may have won a few more games, and there'd still be massive improvement in our ball use.
Yep.
So we're getting the ball inside 50, 55 times on average, and we're just not getting. We're kicking a goal, less than 1 in 5. So there's a lot of improvement in us there, and we'll continue to search for that.
Were you surprised by comments from Ben Hart in the media just about Collingwood's structure and possibly mixing it up, that he's commenting on it when he's not an assistant coach?
Oh yeah, no, not really. I mean, Hardy knows a lot of what we've been trying to build, and I think his comments he saw, in the back half use, the things that have been building over the last sort of 18 months. And we made some decisions from a personnel perspective to improve that as well, and I think we're seeing the fruits of that. We at Match Committee, we're continually looking for the right way of tinkering and making sure that that we adjust personnel or plans to be able to find our best. And clearly, when you play an opposition, you get feedback on that. But our feedback through the JLT was pretty good. After round 1 against Western Bulldogs, and then for periods against Sydney, we're moving the ball the way we want to move it, but we're still not consistent with it. But we've in the first 4 weeks we've adjusted a couple of things every week to try and find that mix, and we'll continue to try and flick things around to make sure that we're looking for that best mix, whether it's personnel or whether it's style and intent. So no, that we're not standing still, but at the same time we have a philosophy, we have an integrity around the way we want to play, and we're not going to break down the areas that we're doing really well. We're going to back ourselves in and trust that it's going to come.
Just with Anzac Day, how much emphasis do you place on the occasion, or is it just another game?
No, it's a huge occasion, and we're very fortunate to have the opportunity to represent for the AFL on that day, on the G in particular, and having been a part of it for over 20 years, it's a fantastic occasion, and the guys that are going to experience it for the first time are going to experience something they've never experienced before. And it is a very special occasion. But it's a Tuesday game, so they're a little bit different. We've still got a little bit of wait to get there, so we're not getting wound up too early. But when the boys are there, they'll know about it.
I think in the past you might have called on a digger to come into the rooms before the game. Is that something you go to this week as well?
No, not at this stage, no. But we've done that time to time.
A lot of talk this week, as there seems to be a lot so far this season, about Darcy Moore and his sort of capabilities as a number 1 forward. Does he just need time?
Absolutely, yeah. He's a young man that his effort, work rate, and his contest are first class, and whilst he's bringing those, we'll continue to give him the time and space to develop. We can help him, and he's still got a lot of understanding of the game to come, and there's things that we can do up the field that can help him, and there's still plenty of coaching and learning that is within him. So it's he's going to be a really good player for this club in front of the ball, and we're going to give him every chance to build an offence around him. He's not the be-all and end-all. He's not the only one that's responsible for holding the ball in the forward line or taking marks or kicking a score, but he's one of a mix. And the front six are only the front end of that, the end of the ball use as well. So yeah, we've broken down in a lot of areas in that offence, and we need to keep working on it. And Darcy will be a consistent part of what we're working on.